Welcome to the Straight from the Heart show. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name's Utamar Miraz. Today I've got a phenomenal guest. His name is Rahat Ahmed. And this man is Know Your Power. He's such a young man. He's 24 years old. He's driven, he's motivated, he's got passion. And most importantly, he's a man of action. And it reminds me of myself. That's why I've got this boy on here. He hasn't been around for a long time, but the moves that he's making some phenomenal moves. This boy is going to get places. I'm sorry for calling you a boy, but do you know what? You are going to go places. So without any further ado, just give yourself an introduction. Tell us what you're about, my brother.
Well, thank you so much for the amazing introduction. Thank you for having me on the show. So, introduction of myself. So, my name is Rahat Ahmed, as you said, and I am the founder and life coach and speaker and the founder of Know Your Power. So, the whole reason behind the brand, and give you a long story short, is that I have a vision. And with this vision, it's quite similar to yours, is trying to help the little people raise. I want to unlock the potential of millions and millions of people around us in this world. And people have a lot of potential in them, and they've been created for unique reasons. However, the problem is because of the negativity of the world or certain circumstances, this power hasn't been able to unleash within them. So my job is to help them unleash this power. And the world that I see, just imagine, thousands, or even millions of Steve Jobs around the world. It took one Steve Jobs to change the world. Imagine millions of people like that. People who are fearless leaders, people who are ready to take initiative, people who aren't scared to take action and then make the change in this world and create history. That's my mission, and that's who I am.
Wow. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And like I told you earlier, you're going to do it, man. You're going to do it. I have faith in you. I believe.
Thank you.
And I'm sure my viewers will believe in you once they get to know what you're about, how driven you are. Yesterday, my boy here done his first seminar. Most people, when they want to do the first seminar, they're looking, I want a 5-star hotel. I'm going to be doing it like I'm the man. But you know what? This dude done it in a restaurant. If I'm mistaken, was that your dad's restaurant?
Yeah, it's my dad's restaurant, family restaurant.
I know people that be saying, do you know what, I was going to do this, but I couldn't because I couldn't get the hotel. I didn't have the right funds. I didn't do this. All these circumstances, all these excuses will come. But Rahat there just went out there and delivered it. And I was watching his live video in the morning, supporting him, even though I couldn't be up there. And yeah, you smashed it, my brother. And I really like what you're doing on that. So the next question will be, such a young man like you, what got you into this beautiful world of personal development? And how do you think you're going to make that change? I know you've said you're going to empower lives, but how are you going to do that?
Are you ready for a long story?
This is what the podcast is for, my brother. We're here to
the heart, straight from the heart.
That's it.
Okay. So growing up, my family and us, we weren't that wealthy growing up. And my parents always taught me to be a good person. To never hurt anyone, never say anything bad, just be just a nice person. And I mean, I kind of, as a result of it, I love being a nice person and love helping people. But I was too nice in certain circumstances, and a lot of people took advantage of that. So in primary school, I was bullied. I was bullied a lot as me and my twin, and we found it very difficult just to make friends. And the way I got brought up, I think it's my culture as well. It was a really kind of a validation culture. You had to always ask for permission. Dad, can I do this? Mum, can I do this? Mum, can I go outside? Can I do this? And I never thought for myself. I never used to think for myself. It always used to be asking people's permission, very authoritative, And I kind of grew up like that. I got into secondary school again, this kid who I'd say is quite innocent. I was really naughty at times, but I was innocent. I was just someone who's just trying to be a nice guy. I've suffered from a lot of racism in my school, where I grew up in Bristol, and because I was my family weren't that wealthy either, that really affected us as well, in the sense that people used to notice. the recent notice car we got dropped in, the fact that we couldn't afford certain things, the fact that we couldn't afford, I don't know, the latest mobiles. You know, everything just kind of got together, and we just got bullied as a reason. I got beaten up a number, like, and so many times I've lost count, you know, and that's purely because of the color of my skin. It got to a point where I just, I hated life. I was depressed. I couldn't have one-to-one conversations. This was when I was like 11, 12. I couldn't make friends with people. I was paranoid. I had the lowest self-belief, lowest self-confidence that you can just imagine. I just thought so many negative thoughts. By the time it got to about year 9, this is when I was about 14 years old, it got so bad that, the police had to get involved with the racism. It got to a point where my brother's life was under threat because people were after him just because of the color of our skin. People didn't like us. It was the fact that he stuck up for himself one day after getting racially abused. And then the bullies didn't like that. So they got more people involved, and it was just a lose-lose situation for us. So what happened is my dad took us out of that school, moved us to a new school. And at that point, something kind of switched in my brain. And I was like, well, if I want to have friends, right? If I want all the girls and everything else that comes with it, then I have to become the bully. And that's what happened. So I put this kind of front on. So I used to try and act like this guy who was, all tough and rough. Inside, I was empty. I had an empty soul. I tried to cover my lack of self-belief and my lack of self-confidence. I eventually realized after trying to be a bully that no one really liked me in school. But still, I suffered from this kind of self-belief issues that I had. I ended up mixing with the wrong crowd because I thought, I'm wanted in this crowd of people because I was a minority. So I started hanging around with other minorities. And again, I got into a lot of trouble. By the time I finished school, I was in year 11. I did okay in my GCSEs. Again, because I was dyslexic, I used to think I'm stupid. I used to tell myself that I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough confidence. So much negativity just built up inside of me. And I lived in negativity. I lived and breathed it. This was just my mindset. So I got to A-levels, and this is where it gets interesting. Again, it was me, my cousin, my brother. We used to hang around with each other. This was our safety zone, our comfort zone. And we used to just be so negative, like, what's the point of trying? What's the point of this? What's the point of that? Our dads don't let us out. Our dads don't let us do that. What's the point? What is the point of anything? And as a result, I didn't really try my A-levels because I was like, what's the point? I'm stupid. I'm not going to achieve my A-levels. And then I took law, business, and economics. And I got a C, I got a D, and I got an E in economics. Remember that E as well. Just remember that. That's a really crucial point of the story. So I got to university. Funnily enough, I studied economics. But again, this wasn't my choice. My parents, I didn't think to myself. I got pushed towards it. So my brothers and everyone told me that there's a future in this, and I didn't follow my passion. At that time, my passion was marketing and business. And I used to always come up with business ideas. My first business idea, me and my twin, was when we were 7 years old, actually. We started selling Pokemon cards. We had the Pokemon album. We collected the cards. We stuck labels on them and sold them. My second business was in school when we started selling confectionery when Jamie Oliver's law came in, And I've always had that bit of that entrepreneurial flow. I've always loved it. I had a book. I still have this book where I used to collect all my dad's business cards and his order forms and just write stuff and write ideas down when I was younger. But when I got to university, it was exactly the same problem. I was paranoid. I was depressed. So I had a low self-esteem. I had no self-love. Everyone makes mistakes. And every time I made a mistake, whether that's in a social conversation or just saying something that was silly at the time, I used to kick myself about it. So I kind of became a hermit and kept to myself. First year and second year, it was all about pleasing people, being a people pleaser. I never used to think about myself for my education. And I just thought it's all about making people happy, not myself happy. It was just trying to help please people. And that's what I did. I wasn't being myself. I was being this disingenuine person that it wasn't me. And then again, because of my paranoia and stuff, I fell out with people. It wasn't good. I got to one of the lowest points in my life. And this was when everyone was applying for placements, second year of university. And then, it was just interesting because I told myself that what's the point of trying to apply for a placement? I'm stupid. I can't do the numerical tests or the English tests. I can't do it. There's Oxford grads, Bristol Uni grads, X, Y, and Z grads. I can't do that. Then one of my friends said to me, he goes, Rahat, there's one placement and it's just CV only. You've got a CV ready, right? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, send it off. I was like, what have I got to lose? It's going to take me 2 seconds. I'm probably not going to get it anyway. So I sent it off. And then they called me for an interview. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I had a telephone interview. Then I had another face-to-face interview. Then I had a third face-to-face interview. And during that third face-to-face interview, it was interesting because I had to pitch an idea. And the idea was basically I started a fragrance business as well whilst at university. I started kind of bottling my own fragrances and selling it. Didn't go too far because I didn't believe in myself enough. I didn't have that confidence. So I sold it here and there. But anyway, so I had to pitch that idea. And then I had an Excel test as well. I didn't believe I could do it, but I ended up passing it. And I did it. And I actually kind of accidentally fell into the next part of the story. So I was working in operations when I first moved to London. It was the scariest thing ever because no one's in my family has done it. We never really got encouraged to kind of go out and just put ourselves out there and do the things that scare us. My dad's always kept us well contained. And bless him, I love him, I love my parents, and they mean the world to me. But it's just one of those things. And then, you know, I moved to London and I started this placement. I was in operations at first. Then my manager called me. She's like, Rahat, the phones are going off the hook. You need to come down. And I was like, okay, I'll come down. So I started speaking on the phone and I was like, hello? And I was stuttering and I just couldn't talk. I remember one of the girls saying that, why is Rahat downstairs on the phone? He can't even speak English. And it was because I was so nervous and I had such little confidence in myself. But I kind of liked sales. I kind of enjoyed it. And I was kind of incentivized and I liked the competitiveness of it and the rewards that you get with it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a try. So I asked the manager, can I stay here for a little while and see what happens? I was the worst salesman at that point. And one of the girls who was there at the start, she actually moved to the New York office for 6 months. Then she came back. She was helping the new office set up in New York. And she goes, Rahat, when I first saw you, you're really bad. 6 months later, you end up being top of that sales board. You became a leader. You were going against people with 3 years or 4 years your senior, and you were beating every single one of them. I just got hungry. You know, I really wanted it. I wanted it so bad. And there's little incentives that I couldn't afford to give my, for example, one of the incentives is getting a new iPad. I knew I couldn't afford it for my mum, and my mum's always wanted one. You know, I thought I'm going to get that. I made it my aim. I worked so hard. Ended up winning it. Got it. And gave it to my mum as a present. You know, and that gave me a bit of self-belief. And I thought, okay, that's okay. What really kind of hit home for me was when I came back to complete my fourth year of university, final year of university. So again, remember I got an E in economics. I was dyslexic and I kept telling myself I'm not smart enough. During that year, me and my twin, we sent around to each other. And we said to each other, he studied law at the university and I studied economics. And we're like, okay, so we've definitely had like kind of troubled past, you know, but what would make us happy? What would make our parents happy? And we both said, we're going to aim for that first class degree, both of us. And just before that, we actually came across a video by Eric Thomas. And this is the thing that changed my life. If you want it as badly as you want to breathe, that's when you will become successful. Do you know the story about the guru? And then he dunked that guy's head into the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was it. That just switched a light bulb inside of me. And then I thought, okay, that's fine. So first class, that's my aim. I didn't have I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I had my why behind me. And the why is the thing that propels you forward in life. You might not have the self-belief, you might not have the tools, but once you have your why, you find a way. You just find a way. It just happens. You know, people around me told me that, Rahat, like one of my best friends, he told me, Rahat, you know, you shouldn't aim for a first class because you don't want to be disappointed. You just aim for a 2-1 or something, and you'll be less disappointed. I said, no, I'm getting this. So I worked. Me and my twin, we put our tables into one room. We put our beds into another room. and we would just sleep and breathe this. 7 a.m. start, 11, 12 p.m. Sleep, back at it again next day, and the next day we took off like 2 or 3 days that year. And once on our birthday, once on even some other day. You know, we just worked and worked and worked. At points, I wanted to give up, but I had a strong enough why to keep going and going. And then it came to one point where I worked so hard on this coursework. It was just the most toughest coursework ever. And then when our teacher, our lecturer, we were sitting in the lecture hall and he's giving out results. And he's like, you know, the highest person got 83 and the lowest person got 54. And at one point I was like, yeah, the lowest problem is probably me, 54. It's crazy. You know, and then he started reading out results. He said, this person got an 83. This person got an 82. And then I got an 81. It was the third highest in the class out of 100 people, I reckon. But less than that. 70 to 100 people. Yeah, quite a lot less, but 70 people. But that was phenomenal for me because I was like, this is crazy. At one point I was getting 50s and 60s. Now I'm getting 80s in my coursework. At one point I thought I was dyslexic. And at one point I got an E in A-level economics. Now I'm getting 80 in university level economics. And then kept working and working. And I kept visualizing this day. Because my dad said, you know, one of his biggest dreams is to see one of us, the children, get a first class. I kept visualizing that moment. Me walking up on stage, Rahat Ahmed, first class. And then I got up and then I just kept working at it. Like I said, at points I wanted to give up, but I just kept going. Results day came, me and my twin. We ended up getting the first class in law and ended up getting the first class in economics.
Wow.
Proudest moment of my life. It was just crazy, you know? And I learned so much from that. And since then, my life is just propelled. You know, it just shot off. I worked for a Fortune 50 company as a graduate. 10 months later, I got headhunted by the fastest growing company in the world. My salary 3x'd at that point. 10 months, I was 23 with so much money coming in. It was just phenomenal. I just didn't think I could do it. I got to my new company and this was a fast-paced environment. And this was like a lion's den. There are hungry people who are working in this company. You know, they're hiring the top people from top companies. And they were it's phenomenal. And at one point in my life, at that stage, at that journey, I thought I was going to get fired because it was cold calling and I've never made a cold call in my life. And this is where I learned, you know, if you take action against the thing that scares you, then you just keep getting better at it. So do the thing that scares you. My VP of sales taught me that, and I'd never forget it as well. He says, Rahat, you got to do the things that scare you if you want to gain confidence. And at the start, I wasn't like kind of settling in. I couldn't do the whole fast-paced thing. I had these like negative beliefs in my head. I was like, no, you know, that guy next to me is from UCL and I'm from a different uni. He's smarter than me. But then I thought, do you know what? That's a load of rubbish. I got hungry. I got focused. And I started hammering the phone. It's like there's no tomorrow. I just thought of a strategy and just stuck to it. At first I was procrastinating with the strategy. Which way should I go? Which way should I do it? I was like, do you know what? Just screw it. I'm going to stick to one. I'm just going to go for it. It just kept going and going and going. I remember my first appointment I booked. It was with Bloomberg. That was phenomenal. It's a huge, huge company. And I booked an appointment and I just kept going. 10 months later, I got promoted in the company. You know, and then and at that point, my life changed because of 3 reasons. And I kept telling myself as well, and I kept lying to myself. This is the thing. I kept lying to myself saying the money's going to make me happy and love what I do. But every day I was waking up without a purpose. And I was working from 7 in the morning to 7, 8, 9, 10 at night, every single day. Even Sundays I was working as well for this job. I said, I'm not waking up with a purpose. And I tried to give myself a purpose, and I tried to give myself a why. But when you know you're lying to yourself, it's the most difficult thing to do. You know, I knew I was lying to myself and I wasn't doing what I loved. And, you know, I was still involved in personal development at that point. I went to a few sessions in London. I got connected with the network. And I was reading a lot at that point as well. I was reading so many books, Think and Grow Rich. And, you know, I was reading Tony Robbins' books. I went to the UPW. I was just investing in myself at that point. But 3 things that changed my life. First of all, I met my friend. And this was amazing because he's a close friend, but he blew up as a massive YouTuber. You know, he's got this huge following behind him. And he blew up. And then he phoned me and he's like, Rahat, I've got this charity event to go to, and Pele's going to be there, and a few other footballers are going to be there. I've got a spare ticket. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, why not? And this is where a massive paradox happened in my life. And it happened over like 2 weeks. I was on a train going towards Manchester, and I was ripping my hair out, doing all these emails, getting ready for the Monday morning cold calling. I was doing them. And I was like, oh God, I hate this. Why am I doing this? And then he was right next to me. He was doing the thing he loved. He was interacting with fans, everything. And I was like, why can't that be me? That can be me. That can be me. And I was like, that's crazy. Great. That's phenomenal. So that was the first event. Within that same day, actually, on that Sunday, I still remember it, Muhammad Ali, or the Saturday he passed away. Pele actually spoke about Muhammad Ali and how much of a good friend he was to Pele. That was phenomenal. And Muhammad Ali was one of my heroes. And I looked into myself at that point. I'm quite an introspective guy, and I just thought to myself, Rahat, if you had 6 months to live and you died in 6 months' time, what would people say about you? Muhammad Ali had 8,000 people at his funeral. He was remembered across the world. Are you going to be known as this salesman who used to sell software, or are you going to be known as a guy who tried to change the world? And I picked the latter. And that was like strike two. And the thing that broke the straw on the camel's back was when the weekend after I went home, I came back home to Bristol. And then I found out that my mum's health was deteriorating and it's not getting any better. And it kind of stuck with me that weekend. I went home back to Reading where I was living at the point, and 7 a.m. grind, got up, got back to work. That day, I didn't realize that I was going to quit my job. And I was working the phones, and by 3 o'clock, I had no results at all. And then I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Life's too short to do something you hate, And, as the late Steve Jobs says, you've got nothing to lose because you're going to die anyway. So take the risk and keep going. And at that point, 3 o'clock, I messaged my manager, I was like, can we have a 5-minute chat? And I had 5 months left on my lease. Remember, I just got promoted 1 month into my promotion, got a pay rise. And I kept making these excuses before, because I knew I was going to quit start business at some point, but I kept making these excuses, my CV is going to look bad, or this is going to happen, or I don't have no sales experience to start a business, kept making these excuses. But when I realized that you will die anyway, and you got nothing to lose, and if this was the last 24 hours of my day, would I be doing what I'm doing today? No. And I quit my job. I told my manager I'm gone. 5 months left on my lease, just got promoted, and that all those limited beliefs that I had just went away with a click of a finger. Once that crept in, that thought of dying. And then came back to Bristol, and I started this business because I've started to change. I want to change the world. I want to give people this personal power that I found. I want to give it to everyone else. And it also allows me to spend more time with my mum. Because I said to myself, the biggest regret I have is not spending enough time with mum and not helping her get her health back. Now I'm zooming down to the doctors, helping her, I'm taking her on morning walks or afternoon walks with her, 20 minutes to half an hour. And we just talk and go through his walks. And, I couldn't ask for anything else. And I'd trade the world. Honestly, I would trade the world to be with my mum. And she asked me, Rahat, why did you do it? Why did you quit this high-flying job? You just got a promotion to come back to be with me. And I said to her, Mum, it's because you did the same for me. You'd give up everything just to be by my side. And that's why I'm here today.
Wow, listen, man, I've just got to compose myself there. I just got deep into your story. You're only the second man that I've given a free flow like this on my show. And I've got tears in my eyes. I don't know if my camera can see it, bro. It's like I'm looking at my life in your eyes. When I said to you earlier in the private conversation, you remind me of myself. You've actually solidified that belief now. Because everything, all them beliefs you had in your head, I was the same. I'm not going to go through my story, but everything. I was living the fake life, trying to be the gangster that I wasn't, going around doing this, being the player, this, that, just to impress people. And I got no further questions, man. You dropped all the nuggets in there. You dropped everything. When you were sitting on that train with your boy with YouTube? You're on the podcast today, man. many great people are on. You can actually say that I've been on a podcast that Jarek Robbins has been on, that Javon Langford has been on, that Raghav Prakash has been on, Avijit Singh Arya from India, who's ranked the top 100 digital marketers in India, and all these kind of people. If you were still in that sales job, man, I would never, ever would have that opportunity to talk, the honor to talk to you and that young head of yours, everything that you've told us today. There isn't nothing else that you need to drop, but as a rule on my show, I always get my guests to drop 3 golden nuggets. So today for you, I'm going to ask you, because of your question, of your story and everything. So if I was going through that same situation as you, and I was living that fake life, which I was at that time, it was for me to belong. I felt like I had a belonging with these friends. But when I look back at it, I was paying for everything. That's why they were my friends. So, but I felt a belonging. I felt safe. I felt, do you know what? Whilst I was in their company, I was the man. And that was only short term. I was feeling the gratification, the happiness. So if somebody's in that kind of situation, be it at 15, be it at 30, be it at whatever age, because it happens at all levels.
Yeah.
What advice what 3 tools would you give to these people to empower them?
So if they were trying to be someone else, is that correct? 3 tools. First of all, I'd say you're unique. Accept that you're unique because you're special in a great way. You know, I kept thinking that it was me. I was the bad person. I couldn't fit in with people. But the reality is that people couldn't fit in with me. And just keep thinking you're great, because I believe I'm great and I'm going to change this world. So you, that person, just accept yourself for who you are, because you're beautiful, you're perfect. You don't need to change yourself for anyone. The second thing I say is stop trying to please people, because it's not getting you anywhere. You know, trying to please people is impossible, because not everyone's going to like you. And that's not a bad thing. You know, you don't need hundreds of friends. You don't need everyone to like you. You just need, first of all, like yourself, accept yourself and love yourself for who you are. Secondly, if you just have that one quality friend, that's all you need to take you forward in life. And, you know, that's all you need. You don't need hundreds of people around you. You don't need to make everyone happy around you. And thirdly, what's my third nugget for these people, for someone in a situation that I was in? I think is just, you know, if you want to get unstuck out that situation, is start investing in yourself and start just taking action. Like, don't worry about failing or what people say about you. You know, people are always going to talk about you, regardless if you do amazing things, people are going to talk about you. And if you fail, people are going to talk about you. That's just the nature of people. So start taking action, invest in yourself, and just start doing the things that scare you. You grow confident. And once you grow confident, then you realize that you don't need anyone around you. You just need yourself to take yourself forward.
Wow. Listen, people, accept yourself. So self-love, first of all. The people that's been doing this for years, this is what they're saying on my show, and you've snapped that. Secondly, stop pleasing people. It's not about pleasing people. If you have just the one friend in quality, so you don't need that quantity. So that's that one friend or that one person who's behind you, who's going to have that, going to propel you, who's going to have that jet engine in your bum. Yeah, this is the one person. You don't need the numbers. And thirdly, take action, invest in yourself. And yeah, this is most important, because earlier on I was talking to someone else. You've got the vehicle. You've got the 250 grand Ferrari. But you're not a good driver, you're not going to drive that Ferrari well. I spoke about it to my wife. My wife was like, yeah, have you seen them old men who's driving the Ferrari at 20 miles an hour? I was like, that's exactly what's going to happen. So you just dropped those 3 amazing things there, my brother. And I am going to call you my brother, man. It's that you're
my brother as well. You are my definite my brother.
You're like my young'un, man. It's just like looking at my twin. Now we've got triplets now, man. But yeah, amazing. Your story is phenomenal. Like, everyone's got a story. You know, everyone's got their story. You just need to, like Warren says, you have to come out and tell people your story. Everybody's
100%.
got a powerful story. Everyone's got their potential. You just need to tap into that potential. And for you to tap into that potential, I will say, look at yourself, love yourself, invest in yourself. When I say invest in yourself, there's a lovely young man who's a coach here. Go to people like him. Find a mentor. Coach and mentor are two different things. A coach will give you the tools. A mentor has already walked that journey. So
Yeah.
he's there, I'm here. I've got a phenomenal network of people around me.
Yeah.
If you need me, just shout at me. If I can't help you, I've got people like Rahat can help you. If you need people like Michael Serway can help you, I can introduce you to these people. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, my brother, for empowering
Yeah,
people,
thank you. Thank
for
you.
sharing your story. Your story is powerful. And you know what? Keep doing what you're doing with your mummy, because I'll share something with you. I never had a mum, bro. My mum committed suicide when I was 1. So the thing that hurts me the most in this world is see people who's got mums and then neglect their mums, mistreat their mums, don't look after their mum, and that for me gets me angry. I no longer get angry because I'm in control of my emotions. It saddens me now to see that, and what you're doing for such a young man who at 24 should be out there enjoying his life, traveling the world, going out clubbing, going out with ladies, doing this, doing that, what have you, but you're spending that time with your mum. Do you know what, brother? That in itself is a blessing, because I never had that blessing. And knowing that you're living that, I respect you, and you're doing phenomenal work. Your heart's in the right place. And you know what? Your vibe attracts your tribe, man. That's why we're here talking today. I've been watching you for 2 months. I've been watching everything. I might not comment on your videos. I might not put a like. I might not do that because I've been rebranding and stuff like that. But boy, you are going places. You're doing it.
Thank you.
Look out for this boy. Look out for him and take up his services, because he's going to get you to your destination. He's going to take you to the next level. And he's going to make you stop procrastinating, because you know this guy, he talks from the heart too. I'm straight from the heart, so that's copyrighted. He can't be doing that. This guy, he's genuine, he's authentic, he's raw, and this is what makes him. And again, I'll thank you from the bottom of my heart. And
Thank you.
on the show, I'm going
And given the opportunity, it's just phenomenal, and I love what you're doing as well. You know, it's touching that you said that. I just didn't realize that. And like you said, you're right. Everyone's got a story behind them, but it's how you use that story to propel you forward. The fact now you set out to change people's lives, and the fact that you're helping people get bullied, you know, that's amazing. And for me, that's what I want to do as well. I want to inspire people like that. And what you're doing is amazing. I've seen you grow as well. I think we started our journey at a similar time as well.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal. And I love everything about you, and straight from the heart. That's what it is. If you're not serving from the heart, then you're not serving at all.
Listen, great leaders are servers. All leaders are servants. If you're not serving, you're not leading. So you need to serve. Like my boy Javon will say, find a movement that is going places. If you're not everyone are leaders. So support that movement, and make sure when you're supporting, you become the best supporter of that movement, because not everybody is going to be leaders. Not everybody can serve, because not everyone likes the same sort of thing. So that's the advice I will give to people. Find a movement that is going the right place with the right message, and you'll get there. And as you said about your bullying, I want to officially welcome you on Millionaires Against Bullying. I'm going to get you introduced.
Thank you so much.
To the boys on the other side of the pond. I'm going to tell them they've got another brother there to be supporting. So yeah, so this is you, man. I'm going to be signing out now straight from the heart.
Thank you so
I'm going
much.
to be promoting my Millionaires Against Bullying again. The website is www.mabwow.org or .com. Both sides are on there. Follow people like Kevin Jones, Maddox, Khaled Maddox. He's now an ambassador of our product. We've got the young Emily Shea Oh, she's phenomenal. She's only 11 years old. She's written
Wow.
a book. She's sharing a stage with Tony Robbins next month. This
Wow.
kind of ambassadors that are stopping this bullying. This bullying. This world is changing. We've got Rahats here. We've got the youth here. We've got the Javans. We've got all these kind of people who are world changers. We're going to change it. So I'm signing out. Live well with one another. Because if we don't, what is the point of living? Straight from the
That's
heart,
it.
signing out, Tamar Miraz. Is there any way that people can catch you, your services, or anything like that? I completely forgot because your story just blew
Yeah.
me away.
So my kind of user alias for my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Facebook is at Know Your Power UK. So you can message me on that, or you can contact me on just find me on that, because my email address might change later on. But at Know Your Power UK. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, also LinkedIn as well. Rahat Ahmed. You'll find me there.
That's it. If you want to know your power, remember the name Rahat Ahmed. If you want to know your power, Rahat Ahmed. If you want to know the power, Rahat Ahmed. Write it down. Write it down again. Watch out for this boy. This boy is going to do some big things. Thank you so much, and thank you for your support.
No
Thank you
problem. So
for your
thank you for the
time.
opportunity.
Thank you.